I'm not going to take very long. I'm going to talk very quickly about the Schulich MBA program and the unique factors or the features about the program. Of course, the school offers a lot of other programs, but those may not really be relevant for an audience like you, which looks really young and probably would have a couple of years of experience. So you can look at the full-time MBA at the Schulich School of Business. Now, of course, one factor about the Schulich program or one important factor for a lot of Indian students is the fact that it's based in Canada, it's based in Toronto, right? A lot of you are looking at international education, are looking to move out of the country, get exposure, and Canada tends to be a favorite or a hot destination currently, given what's happening across the world in geopolitics and between the trade wars in US, China, and all of that. Coming to other features about the Schulich program, it's of course amongst the top ranked in Canada, has a very special focus on corporate social responsibility or the social impact which its graduates or alumni make. So the school has this philosophy of a triple bottom line perspective. So people, profit, and planet, all of those need to be taken into account. And yeah, of course, there are features that set it apart. One interesting thing, and this is one last sentence which I'm going to put in, is that Schulich also offers an MBA that starts off in India. So you can technically start off your MBA in India and complete the program in Toronto with all the benefits that the Schulich MBA program offers. So basically the same pedagogy, same faculty, same immigration possibilities, same duration of work permits that you get. You can get all of that even after starting your program in India and then completing in Toronto. So of course, that's something which not a lot of you would have known, and I would be happy to answer questions around that.
So if we can talk about another component of the application process that candidates deliberate about and worry about as well, that would be the essays. So if we could just touch upon the expectations of candidates from essays for each of your schools, and if we could start with Sanjay, you this time, that'd be great.
So I think let me start off by saying a common mistake that people make in writing their essays. That is not answering what is asked in that particular essay question. So if you look at the essays that the schools ask, there's a question. Normally, there's not a statement that you have to answer, but you have to answer a question. Now, when you look at the Schulich's mandatory essay, it's about your career goals and how does the Schulich MBA add to those career goals. So keep in mind what the question is. So try to answer that question to the most appropriate extent that you can. Now, coming to what are the expectations, right? While it may seem like a very simple question, what are your career aspirations and how does the program help you? It seems like a very simple question. There are a lot of underlying expectations that come along with that question. So it's not just about saying, hey, I want to become this, and Schulich has this specialization, so it would happen. You can actually say that in one sentence. But the reason you're giving 350 words to answer that question is because there are a lot of underlying expectations. Through answering that question, we expect you to highlight some significant achievements in your profile, draw linkages between your past experiences and your future aspirations. If there are any, as we said, GMAT is one factor, so we are looking at a lot of other outlying factors which make you stand apart from the crowd. So try to bring those out through your essay as well, and that makes it a winning essay. Also, if possible, try to make them interesting. We end up reviewing thousands of applications, each one of us. It's truthfully gets monotonous at times. So if you have something which is interesting, something exciting, some story that you can bring in which makes it really interesting for us to read, it just works in your favor.
Sanjay, just wanted to touch upon something which I know it didn't come up here, but I saw that Schulich also has a timed essay component, which is impromptu. So can you share with us the rationale behind that and how candidates can approach that aspect of the evaluation?
So it's not a very complicated aspect. It may look a bit scary at first, but it's actually not. So as part of the timed essays, you actually do 2 timed video essays, which are your 4 or 5 minute short recordings that you have to make on your own computer or on the own computer. So basically, you log into your laptop, use the camera to record on a particular platform and submit that. And then there's a written essay, a timed written essay, which gives you some time to write around 100, 150 words on a particular topic. Now, these are very generic topics, and these are randomly allocated to each candidate. So it's done through a external platform, and that platform allocates a topic to you. The whole idea behind taking or getting these video recordings or getting the time written essay One is a basic test of your communication skills and your personality. So what a common challenge which VB schools face is the number of applications and how to filter those applications or identify the right candidates for the next level of evaluation. You possibly can't interview each and every applicant to the program. You can't. So the idea is these evaluations, the time written essay, the video essay, help us do that brief evaluation of your communication skills, personality through the essay. Of course, as I said, if you whatever the topic is, if you make it interesting for us, you make it quirky, you come up with something new, something different, it helps us remember you better, catches attention. So don't ignore it, but at the same time, don't sweat too much about it. It's mainly to test your basic communication and personality.
You could share a little bit about the experience of residential living, because ISB is very well known for its campus and the experience that people have, student life experience, if you could touch upon that.
Housing becomes an integral part of your learning experience as well. A lot of discussions move from the classroom to the common areas or where the students can interact with each other, work on their group projects, discuss, fight on ideas, fight not literally, but basically argue and have discussions on various topics and learn from each other. And just living together makes it very exciting, very different. For a lot of you, you may be moving out of your family home for the first time. So it's like a different learning or growing up experience as well. And that's why the schools have this housing facilities available. Same is the case at York University, various configurations available and with a lot of facilities, and they tend to be super fun.
Thanks for sharing. So, Sanjay, if I could confirm, then people who are pursuing the MBA in India in the first year, they would have on-campus housing. If you could just talk about that a little.
So for the MBA in India, it's not on-campus housing. It's a little away from the campus. So it's 15, 20 minutes drive, but the school has regular shuttle buses going back and forth between the housing and the campus. And students live in a luxury villa retreat. So it's usually a holiday home, holiday villas for the Novu rich of Hyderabad as such. So that's where the students live. They live in 3 BHK or 4 BHK villas, have a choice between sharing accommodation or an independent room. And the villa complex comes with all the facilities you can think of: swimming pool, housekeeping, squash courts, badminton courts, gym, whatever you think you need. So it's really luxury living. The whole idea being that you can concentrate on your studies without getting distracted or without worrying about who takes care of the basics.
If you could just talk about the format of the MBA in India with 1 year in Hyderabad and 1 year in Toronto, and what the benefits of that are for our audience members, because they may not know that.
Sure. So while we term it like a different program, we call it the MBA in India program. It's actually the same Schulich MBA program which is offered, just in a split format where you do the first 8 months or the first 1 year of your MBA in India at the Hyderabad campus, and then move on to Toronto to complete the second year or the remaining 8 months of your coursework in Toronto. So it's the same program that you're going through. So you learn from the same Schulich faculty who fly in to teach in Hyderabad during the first year. You get access to the same career services from the school, the same alumni relations, or alumni support from the school. So you name it, everything remains the same. The few advantages of this particular program become that, of course, your costing goes down. So you end up saving around 10 to 12 lakh Indian rupees, given the tuition fee, the slightly lower tuition fee, and the living expenses that tend to be lower in India. And sorry. So, of course, the advantage becomes one on the cost front, and secondly, your outcomes don't change. So since you get support from the same career development center, your employment opportunities remain the same. In fact, whatever numbers we report tend to be consistent across the two cohorts, the cohort that starts off in India, the cohort that starts off in Toronto. And finally, in the second year, you get merged with the Toronto cohort, and your immigration opportunities, the kind of work visa you get, the duration of the work visa you get, all of those tend to remain similar. So you get the advantage of a slightly smaller cohort in the first year, so better faculty access, better peer networking opportunities at a slightly lower cost with the same career and learning opportunities as the cohort in Toronto.
Each of you touch upon the career prospects that candidates would have from your respective programs, and then we'll move to the audience after that.
Sure. Okay, let me go first because I'm sure you're already aware of the career figures for ISB and IMB. I guess we shouldn't give them a chance. But just coming to Schulich, if you look at the employment numbers, the school reports around 90% deployment within 90 days of completing the program. So basically within 3 months of graduation, 90% of the students report having a job in hand or having accepted an offer. Of course, since the cohort is made up of a lot of international students, almost 55% of Schulich students come from outside of Canada. Some choose to go back to their home country, and the school may not be able to track their data or track their employment numbers, but 90% is what the school is able to track. One interesting fact or the interesting figure is 93% of Schulich alumni live and work in Canada. What that ends up implying is that once you end up there, a majority of students don't want to leave that country or move back, mainly because of the quality of life. So Toronto is known to be amongst the fourth most, it's amongst the top 10, I think it's the seventh or the sixth most livable city in the world currently. So very friendly environment, very welcoming culture, great North American life. And consequently, once the students get there, most end up taking employment in Canada itself. So usually not on the curriculum. So most schools would offer you the same level. You would of course have choices to make. So you can pick your elective courses. Some schools would have a senior executives club, which you can be part of if you have higher experience. So there would be additional things that you can pick and choose, which are optional. But when it comes to the core curriculum, that would remain consistent, whether you're someone with 4 years or 5 years of work experience or someone with 15 years of experience. The whole idea is that the students are expected to learn from each other. So people with lesser experience bring in certain life skills, certain competencies, which people with higher experience can benefit from, and vice versa as well. So not in the curriculum. When it comes to employment, right, there would be a difference that would come in naturally. Think about it, right? A company would not recruit, say, someone with 15 years of experience at the same level as it's recruiting someone with 3 or 4 years of experience, right? There's more experience, more maturity, more knowledge that comes in with higher experience, and those levels would vary. It would also vary according to the industry and function you're going for and what kind of transitions you're making. So in case you're making an industry change, then of course recruiting company would want to discount that, probably start you off at a slightly lower level as you would have got in the industry that you were previously working. So if you decide to go back to your previous industry, you'd expect to start off at a slightly higher level. But if you're changing industries, then expect to start off at a slightly lower designation or level as well. Same with the function as well. So those factors come in along with the years of experience, along with the quality of work that you have done, and what kind of skills or what kind of additional things that you're bringing to the table. And yes, with years of work experience, pay scales, designations, those would vary.